I know how much money is in your retirement account. It's on the public record, and you didn't even know it, did you? I'm Bryan Ellis. I'll tell you how to protect your private data right now in episode number 104.
You're listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio, America's only podcast exclusively for affluent, self-directed investors, where each day of the week you receive innovative investment strategy and deadly accurate market analysis that's untainted by Wall Street and unblemished by government propaganda, all in 7 minutes or less. Coming to you now from iTunes, Stitcher, and SDIRadio.com, here's your host, Bryan Ellis.
Hello, SDI Nation. Today's episode is short, but really, really big. There's this booming issue out there called cybersecurity. You may have heard of it. Its close cousin, data privacy, is also getting a lot of attention, and reasonably so. The major retailer Target was targeted by hackers. There's news out today that the Canadian government was also just hit by hackers. And, oh yeah, due to colossal incompetence in the current administration, over 21 million Americans have had their social security number and other private data exposed directly to Chinese hackers who, let's face it, bear no goodwill towards you and me. Well, it's probably going to blow your mind that one piece of wildly sensitive financial data is readily available to the public, no hackers needed, and the party who's exposing your data unnecessarily is your tax preparer. You see, 401k plans, including the self-directed variety that I recommend so highly here on SDI Radio, well, they're required to file tax returns once they pass a certain threshold of asset value. Under the law, a 401k plan is really just a type of trust, and thus it's required to file its own tax return. So far, so good. Data filed on tax returns is private, isn't it? Well, not so fast. Get ready to be bowled over, my friends. There are two different forms that can be used when filing a return for a self-directed 401k. One is called the 5500 EZ, and one is called the 5500 SF. The EZ form is simple. Not much data is required. Again, it's just simple. The SF form is more complicated and discloses a lot of information. Your tax preparer gets the choice of which one to file for your self-directed 401k plan. It's totally their choice. There are no other factors determining which of those forms is to be used. But there's a huge difference in what happens with that data. Data submitted on the EZ form, well, it's private. Only the feds get this info. And to the extent you trust them with your data, and really, why should you? But I digress. Well, to the extent the feds are able to keep that data secure, it will not be exposed to the public in any way. But the other form, the 5500 SF form, well, not only is it far more complicated, not only does it require far more disclosure, including the name, address, telephone number of the owner, along with the value of all of your assets and a whole lot more information as well, but the real kicker is that all of the data on that form is placed on the public record. Yep, that's right. If a 5500 SF is filed for your 401k, whether a solo 401k or a normal 401k, that data is available to the public, and the amount of data there is staggering. I've got the latest spreadsheet. There are over 180,000 401k plans that have divulged a massive amount of information that's frankly just mind-blowing. And if you have a solo 401k, as many of you do, and if your tax preparer files the 5500 SF form, I know exactly how much money you had in your account as of the end of last year. And I'll know again for this year very soon as well. Do you think it's safe to have that information out there so easily available? Of course not. It's a huge risk. It puts a massive bullseye on your retirement savings. But remember, if you have a solo 401k, it's totally the choice of your tax preparer which form to use. So do this. Demand that your preparer use the EZ form. They might resist because the SF form likely generates higher fees for them, and from what I can tell, the SF form may be easier to e-file as well. But the convenience of your tax preparer isn't a consideration. You should demand your data be kept private. You should in no way think that these comments are an indictment of self-directed 401k plans, also known as solo 401k plans. If, like most of us, you need a tax-favored retirement plan, and if you qualify to have a self-directed 401k, by all means, you should do that. It's my humble but deadly accurate opinion that the self-directed 401k is absolutely superior to every other option, including the self-directed IRA. There's simply no comparison. The only adjustment you'll need to make if you already have a solo 401k or if you establish one in the future is to make sure your tax prep person uses the EZ form. That's it. My friends, that's all for today, except please do make sure you've gone over and liked our Facebook page, which you can reach at sdiradio.com/FB. I'd love to hear from you and answer your questions there, so please stop by right now at SDIRadio.com/FB and click like. My friends, invest wisely today and live well forever.
Thank you for listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio with Bryan Ellis. Don't miss a single episode. Be sure to subscribe to Self-Directed Investor Radio right now on iTunes, on Stitcher, and at SDIRadio.com. Your feedback is always welcomed via email at feedback@SDIRadio.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended as legal or professional advice for your situation. Content is the property of the Self-Directed Investor Society.